Tony.
Thank you. Far too kind.
Entertainment, current events, and trending topics. You get it all on the Culture Report with the Marquette Hall of Famer Tony Smith on the Tory Lowe Show. Here is your host, Tory Lowe.
101, 7 The Truth. Tory Lowe Show. Pop Culture Report brought to you by Marquette Hall of Famer Tony Smith. How you doing, Tony?
What up?
Hey.
Been a while.
How you enjoying the sun out there?
Hey, I'm enjoying it. I know it's been rainy over there, so
Man.
loving the warm, dry weather.
Well, I think they say it was 70 degrees. It's supposed to be 70 today, I think.
Yeah, well, it's also the 26th of April. April's almost over.
Hey, I don't want to get into no match with you because I know you over there enjoying. Enjoying yourself. But I do want to talk about how you feel about the Packers and the draft that recently took place in Green Bay. How do you feel about the picks?
Did you go down there?
Yes, I did.
I saw it was packed. I saw the pictures.
Packed.
I was watching it.
I think that they said that they like over the total of 3 days, it was like 600,000 or so people down there.
Yeah, I saw it. It was thick down there. It looked good. Looked like Green Bay put on a good show for everybody.
Put on a great show. I mean, yeah. I think people walked away like, wow, that was a great experience. I think that's right. What took place. But when we talk about the draft picks, we got Matthew Golden at number 23 of the first round from Texas. What do you feel about that?
Listen, when I saw that, the first thing, and when Mark Murphy's up there announcing the pick, I was so I'm trying to figure out. I was mad a little bit. I was a little upset for Aaron Rodgers. Like you said, now you're gonna pick the number one wide receiver in the first round. Now, like you had Aaron Rodgers, you didn't pick one then. I was like, this is bad. This is a bad look. You're just trolling Aaron Rodgers right now. Like, but you know. And the other thing was, I was surprised. And I get it when you look at the receivers they had, but everybody I was talking to, they were like, people are texting me and asking me like, man, I thought you guys had a bunch of young receivers that you guys liked.
I think a lot of people that number one pick at wide receiver I think it was a stab at Christian Watson.
Oh, yeah, he can't stay healthy.
I think it was a replace or an idea that they can kind of actually, if Christian Watson can't recover from his tear in his right ACL, that he may be not on the Packers or they may move in a different direction.
No, 100% agree. He hasn't been able to stay healthy since he got here. So it definitely was someone like to try to replace him. And I mean, then they picked another wide receiver later on, I believe in the third round. Right. So it's just, it's just indication of what they feel about what they have. But again, all these guys are young. I mean, they picked up Mecole Hardman. He's not young. He's a veteran. But you got mostly young guys at the receiver position. So, I'm not sure I know it's a high draft pick. I'm not sure what he's going to do. Like I said, I don't follow a lot of college football. So I don't know how really good this kid is and how quickly he can make an impact. But he is a rookie. He's going to be a rookie. How much can you depend on rookies, right? Hey. That's the real question.
Also, the elephant in the room of the whole NFL draft, Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
I know, that's a cultural thing. When we talk about Shedeur Sanders, I think people feel a certain type of way about the Sanders, what Deion was able to do with college football down in Jackson. Then he came over to Colorado, and it seemed like the world was following that movement. But now Shedeur is entering into the NFL draft. So I think that he built up a lot of fans and a lot of people that kind of invested in his career along the way due to the movement that they had. But now on draft day, a lot of people was upset.
I mean, a lot of people were upset because, some people had him maybe coming off the board before Cam Ward. I think not a lot of people did, but there were some people who were talking that, they could have possibly taken him first. But there's a lot of talk about his dad maybe caused his fall in the draft by saying, playing that Manning role. They always compare to the Eli Manning and Peyton Manning. Their dad
Right.
Archie was trying to control there and told the Saints, don't draft Eli, he's not going to play for you, or the Chargers. I'm sorry. So it's the same thing. So maybe seeing a little meddling, but now all of a sudden it didn't affect Eli's career, but it appears to have affected Shadur Sanders' standing and draft status. So people are, saying double standard there.
Well,
He didn't interview well? There's a lot of theories out there.
Another one
I heard.
Draft, okay, go right ahead.
Another one I heard,
I'm gonna tell you,
Tory,
a lot of people
was
upset
that
about that.
The NFL was talking about they've never had so much, attention or watching of the second and third days of the draft as they had with Shador still hanging out there. So was it a ploy by the NFL to get some attention and some viewership for those second and third days of the draft, which usually no one's watching? They just watch the first round and then you just go look up what happened in the second and third days. So that's out there. I don't believe that one. I just think that once he starts falling, first of all, there's not a lot of teams looking for a franchise quarterback. It's only a couple.
People think it's a collusion.
Right, I know they think that, but I think you're going to look. I think what happens is if you're going to look for a bargain, right? So you see this guy who you think, is big time, but he starts to fall, right? Well, if I don't need a franchise quarterback, first of all, I'm not drafting him anyway. It doesn't matter because he's the guy who's going to come in and he's going to want to get immediate playing time, even though he may not deserve it. A lot of guys you've seen have sat behind other established starters for a few years. We saw Jordan Love just do that. We know Aaron Rodgers did that famously. So there's guys who've come in and have sat. I don't think people saw him as doing that with all the fanfare and hype around him. What you don't want is you don't want him coming in and then your starter having a couple bad games, and now the fan base is calling for Sanders.
Cleveland, they felt that Cleveland was going to take him. Cleveland eventually took him.
Right.
Oh, but what I'm saying is I believe that was a planned idea because it's no way you got somebody with that talent level and he's sitting that long. And I'll say this, the team that we felt that should have drafted him high, drafted him low.
Well,
So what I'm saying is I believe that there was something going on there and maybe to humble him because they said that he was kind of, like his dad,
Right. But Tory, if I'm Cleveland and again, the teams know who's looking for a quarterback.
And they took a quarterback before they took
Well,
him.
no, I'm saying other teams know. So the Cleveland Browns may have wanted Sanders the whole time. But if they look at the draft board and there's only 3 or 4 teams that are going to take quarterbacks and they're not taking quarterbacks right now, you can afford to wait. So Cleveland's like, okay, these teams aren't going to take him. He's not going to be chosen. I mean, there was only one quarterback in the first round anyway.
Right, but what
Cam
I'm saying
Ward, the
is,
number 1 pick.
But they
So
took
there
a
people
quarterback
aren't
in front of Shador, then
They
came
did
back and
take
took
quarterback.
Shador. So to
And
me,
then- correct.
All right, all I'm saying is this is my opinion, and I'll say this. They were trying to humble him because they felt that once again, you got to realize these NIL athletes are coming in millionaires already.
Correct.
And they don't have to wait to get to the NFL to be rich. At least Shador, he came into the NFL draft a millionaire from college. I mean, with his own income. So maybe
100%.
that swag, the way that he approached the game going into the compound was probably way different than somebody who had to play 4 years of college and then go into the pros because that was the big time. Now,
Right, but
if you can get your athlete in college right now, they can become a millionaire.
Yeah, but I don't think it's about money. Again, like I said, for the Cleveland Browns, I think it's an opportunity. Correct. Yeah, but I'm still thinking about it's an opportunity for Cleveland to wait, and then not have to pay as much. The further you go down the draft, the less you have to pay for one. So you get Shadur Sanders at a bargain, right? That's first things first, because they knew other teams weren't looking to draft quarterbacks. So there was no urgency for them to do it if other teams were going to pass on them.
And
So
I
that's the
hear
first
what you're
thing.
saying, but what I'm saying is, why would
Yeah.
they take another quarterback before Shador? Why would
I think
it would make
was,
sense.
I don't know
you're
what that
saying
was.
would make sense if they had took him when they took the quarterback that they took previous before they picked him.
Yeah, I don't understand that pick. I thought that was, to be honest with you, when I saw it, I thought that was going to be part of a trade or something was going on. Like, it didn't make sense for them to pick two quarterbacks back to back like that or close. So I'm not sure what that was.
And Cleveland currently has 4 quarterbacks now on their roster now. After
well, Cleveland's in trouble. They're a franchise in big trouble. So
Right.
they're searching right now is the big thing with Cleveland. But either way, I think Shador is a guy who's going to have confidence. Anyway, now that we're all here, so now it's all evil.
Right.
Now the Cleveland Browns are a struggling franchise. They're going to play who's going to perform the best. They don't care where they were drafted or how much money they're getting paid. I think that their whole Deshaun Watson thing blew up on them. So now they're looking to try to figure something out on that roster.
And that was
they got
a
a great
guaranteed
defense.
contract.
Right. They got a great defense. That's a big guaranteed contract. It's like, man, that's going to hurt their franchise for a while. But, they still have to figure out a way to move on. And I think, like I said, getting quarterbacks this late in the draft is going to allow them to not pay them very much. So if you can get something out of them suddenly for the next 3 or 4 years, not paying them much, you got an opportunity to try to rebound from that Deshaun Watson contract.
Well, look, when we come back, Tony Smith, we got to talk about the Bucks.
Yeah, yes, we do.
We got to talk about the Bucks. Hey, look, when we come back, Truth Nation, we'll have more conversations. Stay locked in right here on Tory Lowe.
I'm trying to tell y'all about this dude.
101, 7 The Truth, Tory Lowe Show. DJ Brothers on the ones and twos. Pop Culture Report brought to you by Marquette Hall of Famer Tony Smith. Tony Smith, the Bucks look like they're in a little bit of trouble right now.
Bucks in 6, right?
Hey, that's what they were saying.
Not anymore.
That's what they were saying. Hey, but they had a nice lead going in, well, I guess when they won yesterday, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday,
yeah,
a lot of people felt like, okay, they may have some momentum here. But here we go. The Bucks is down, 3-1. Do they got the magic? And I'm hearing that there are injuries going on with Dame. What's going on?
There ain't no magic down 3-1, Tory. Unfortunately, that's pretty much a death sentence. You're not going to see, looking NBA history, many teams coming back from a 3-1 deficit in a series. So I doubt they have lightning in a bottle, especially the fact that Dame Lillard injured his Achilles.
Right.
So he's definitely going to be out. There ain't no coming back from that. We know that, not anytime soon, at least. And next year is really in jeopardy as well. For Lillard, that's pretty much almost
right.
a year long recovery from that, or close to it.
Wow.
So you're looking at,
do you break this team
you're
up?
You're looking at December at best. I mean, I think they're really at the beginnings of this really whole push especially with Lillard and Dame and Lillard and Giannis together. I mean, you're right at the beginning of it. Has it really even had a chance before you talk about breaking it up?
But what I'm saying is I'm hearing that Giannis is, he's valuable. And you would hate to think that, we would lose a player like Giannis, but are we being delusional at this point?
If anybody thinks that a guy like Giannis won't leave, you're being delusional, yes. But he has been one of the most loyal NBA superstars that we've seen staying
in recent times. Yes.
Right, in recent times, and letting the franchise try to figure something out. So it's really gonna be it's gonna be a tough situation, I think, for Milwaukee to try to hang on to Giannis. Again, given Lillard is gonna be down probably most of next season. I can't see it's already the end of April, and you're talking about 9 months is December,
right?
Which you're almost halfway through the season. Season's 2 months old already. And that would be 9 months, and he might not even be back in 10 months, 11 months. So
I
by the
think
time he gets
Dame
back
hit
on the
a
court, it could be already March. So that's going to be a tough sell for him to all of a sudden be off a year and then be ready for the playoffs next season. I find it hard to believe. They're going to have to do something extraordinary in the offseason as far as getting this roster to a place where it needs to be. I mean, some of these teams that they're competing against, Indiana, they're very young. They got a lot of young players, a lot of very good young players, not just guys
right.
like you see on the Bucks, right? They got some decent players. They're young, but these kids on Indiana, they're very, very good.
Well,
So
I'll say this. Looking toward the future, because I guess a lot of people are saying, looking at this as a lot of these talking heads are saying that if Giannis goes, the Bucks can get, if they get him before his contract run out, they can get 4 or 5 draft picks. They can kind of rebuild from there. But I don't know if the combination of Dame and Giannis have worked out as we thought it would, or as we expected it would.
Well, again, I don't think you had time. Again, you're going to put 2 guys together like that and expect instant chemistry. I think you're kidding yourself a little bit.
Right.
I mean, there's always a chance that it could work, but I think to expect that would be a mistake. But you also have to put those 2 together and then try to fill the roster out as far as needs, what complements those 2 guys best, and then try to build the roster out from there. I think right now it's just, let's just assemble a bunch of guys that we know are good individually in their own right, but that's not really team building. That's just grabbing a bunch of pieces of the puzzle and hope they fit together.
Well,
so they're gonna need a little bit more time to make that work. Some teams do it and it works right away. Congratulations, you got lucky, but that's not the norm.
Well,
so
I'll say this.
I think
we may be watching something that was grand opening and grand closing.
you think this is the final chapter of Giannis?
I'm not saying that, but
Huh?
I wouldn't. Would you fault him? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't.
You're
blame
saying it right now.
I'm just saying that at the end of the day, if Giannis hangs around, what adjustments can be made? What things can be done to improve? You got to realize the last 3 seasons we making first round exits. I don't know. I mean, it seems like we're trying to put a team on the floor to compete, but then every year around this time we see this slide and people feel some type of way about it.
Well, I mean, but you've also seen injury every year.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Giannis himself has been injured. Middleton's been injured. You see guys key guys getting injured. Right. Key guys getting injured. You're not going to compete at the highest level in the NBA if you're not at full strength. And that's just what it is. Right now you see it's going to take some monumental effort. You saw Golden State win without Jimmy Butler. But, I mean, your superstars got to really do something extraordinary in those cases. And
what about
just didn't get it.
Before we get out of here, what about the Lakers? They blow a 4th quarter lead, fall to the Wolves. Game 4, they down 3-1.
Yeah.
Is this the last we seeing of your boy LeBron? Because you played over there at the Lakers. Do you got any inside information?
I have no inside information. I have no idea what LeBron's got. I mean, but LeBron looks good.
Oh,
LeBron ain't the issue. He looks great. So the problem is the Lakers they're just not big enough to compete right now. And, the Wolves are a pretty big team, especially with Gobert in there at the center. The Lakers just don't have the size to compete. They got a lot of nice pieces over there, similar to the Bucks. They got some pieces. They just don't have a complete puzzle, and they were relying on LeBron's greatness at his age, Luka's greatness. But, again, just hasn't been enough because, you've seen some of those other guys who've been good during the regular season. This is the playoffs. It's slightly different. Those fringe guys aren't going to be the guys carrying you in the playoffs. It's going to be your main guys, and you got to play defense in the playoffs. That's the other thing. So the regular season, whatever, you can get by not playing defense, not in the playoffs. Playoffs, you got to defend, and Lakers aren't good enough on the defensive end. Similar to what you're seeing from the Bucks. Just not. You see Indiana's getting any shot they want to. It's kind of like I'm looking around like, man, why are they got so many open shots? But they don't have anybody to keep guys like T.J. McConnell and Nembhard out of the paint. Those guys are constantly driving in the paint and kicking out for threes, and Indiana's getting wide open looks, Tory. You can't live like that.
No, you can't. Well, look, T. Smith, I'm gonna need you to get your insider information together. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
hey,
I'm gonna make some calls for you.
This first round thing is, with the Bucks is. I think a lot of people are starting to raise an eyebrow, but like I said, we want to make sure that Dame and everybody's well cared for when they get injured. But sometimes, when you see things like this and it's a repeated idea, what do you do after that?
Yeah, I mean, nothing. Unfortunately, it's just bad luck with all the injuries.
Right.
That's one thing. That's one thing no one can control. You just hope it doesn't bite you once, much less like it has the Bucks. The last 3 years, they've been bitten by the injury bug in the playoffs. That's just bad luck there. I mean, I don't know what you do about that because it affects your ability to figure out how you're going to move forward. Like, again, we don't know how this Dame Giannis combo can look at full strength for a full season in the playoffs. You haven't seen it.
Right.
So it puts you in a tough situation going forward.
Well, look, I appreciate you for coming on for that Pop Culture Report, T. Smith.
Yes, sir. We'll see you Wednesday, brother.
See you Wednesday. All right, Truth Nation, when we come back, we'll have more conversation. Stay locked in right here on Tory Lowe.